There's a small township, I'm talking about 93, 94, a small African township in George in the Western Cape. What is its name? I can't remember. Kambalethu. Now, that township, I'm talking 93, 94, had 93 agents of the special branch. The special branch only. In addition to which there were agents from military intelligence and national intelligence. Small African township, but flooded with these agents of the apartheid system. I'm mentioning that, comrades, to say that was part of the structure of the national security management system in the African townships. A system of agents in all our townships who were part of the national security management system, ready to be activated in defense of the apartheid system. Let me jump to the 2024 national and provincial elections. You have this result, one of the results. A new organization called the MK Party suddenly gets this huge support in KZN. Gauteng a bit, Mpumalanga a bit. Why? And suddenly the ANC drops to whatever. Why have this population suddenly decided in KZN to abandon the ANC in these numbers? I had my own differences with the ANC leadership, provincial. But that was not why you had that result. The reason we had that result is because, I'm coming back, comrades, to what I was saying about the national security management system. It was the activation of that national security management system which produced that result. Because that machinery had never been dismantled. I was saying we raised this matter with the TRC. The TRC tried. You go and look at the records of the TRC. The TRC tried to get into this matter, but couldn't produce any result. That was the machinery that was used to produce that result in KZN. You see its phenomenon, for instance, with the Gauteng hostels. You remember during this so-called war on black violence, those were IFP hostels. When we clash, big clash with the ANC communities, IFP decide themselves. These were IFP hostels. But what happened in 2024? They all abandoned the IFP and went with the MK Party. Why? It's because they are controlled by the same person. It's the same person who controlled them when they were IFP hostels. The same person who controlled them when they were IFP hostels is the same person who controls them today as MK hostels, MK Party hostels. I'm saying, comrades, that's the counter-revolution, that's how it works. Let me end here. I've gone way beyond my 15 minutes. You have you have a mayhem that happens in July 2021. You remember that? And the story that is told is that the people were angry with the ANC because the ANC had allowed Jacob Zuma to be sentenced by the Constitutional Court and was sent to jail. And the people were so angry, they stood up in solidarity with Jacob Zuma. It's a lie. A complete lie. What happened, comrades, was the counter-revolution decided to test its strength, to see whether it could in fact destabilize the country. It then acted, caused that whole mayhem, just to find out whether it could in fact paralyze South Africa for its own purpose. There's a very interesting interview given by General Roland de Vries. Roland de Vries, by the time we come to 1994, is the deputy leader of the army in the SADF, General de Vries. And General de Vries explains what happened with regard to those July 2021 events. He says that thing was well planned, well carried out. From such and such a day, the whole fleet of cars that were sent out to do various things, they even didn't have registration numbers, to produce this outcome. And what it managed to do, it showed, this is what de Vries said, that actually this democratic state, including the police, had no capacity to defend democratic South Africa.
Former President Thabo Mbeki is a tribalist of note. He hides his tribalism under the so-called intellectual discourse. But he's not even to say he's tribalist. It is not because he's been attacking the other tribes outside of his tribe, which is Xhosa. But he's got a problem. I think we should frame it this way. Thabo Mbeki has a problem with the Zulu-speaking South Africans. He harbors this hatred towards the Zulu-speaking South Africans. And he has serious prejudices. He has serious prejudices against Abezulu. And this, I can safely say, starts or emanates from his personal and political hatred for one individual named Jacob Zuma. Therefore, this hatred that Thabo Mbeki harbors for Jacob Zuma has now extended to each and every Zulu-speaking person. He treats the Zulu-speaking people with suspicion, with prejudice, and hatred. But because Thabo Mbeki is part, just like Cyril Ramaphosa, is part of that group, the Golden Boys, who in the eyes of the mainstream media, the so-called academia, etc., are being portrayed as the good guys. They get away with murder. They get to say the things that you and I, who are not in that camp, cannot say. And then they clothe it as intellectual discourse. I mean, people, they have this tendency in this country, the tendency of taking each and everything each and everything that Thabo Mbeki says within the mainstream media, the academia and others, it is treated as a gospel truth. And you cannot then blame the public when it accepts it as it is, because the public relies on the very same mainstream media and the so-called analysts and experts that are deployed by the mainstream media to perpetuate this dangerous line of thinking that there are certain people that we should never question things they say and things they do. Well, I myself and my platforms, I refuse to accept such a thing. Thabo Mbeki is an old, bitter man who's full of hatred. But because he's a coward, he never confronts it as it is. He then clothes it as an intellectual discourse. But there's actually nothing intellectual about the prejudices and the tribalistic utterances that Thabo Mbeki continues to make against the Zulu-speaking people of this country. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Thabo Mbeki. The name of the platform is IZWI LABANSUNDU, the voice for Africans. Thank you very much.